Innocent Minds.
I had a friend of mine who was in a relationship with a girl. And then he couldn't understand why the girl all the time was bitchy towards him. The relationship was beautiful at the starting point, but at some point of his life, of their relationship, she became bitchy. She was nagging all the time. She was untrustworthy. The guy would go into the toilet to take some phone calls, and she would nag and nag and nag and nag and nag. And he came to me and said, "Guy, I don't understand what's happening with this girl. There's a problem somewhere. What's happening? What's happening?" That's the third story. I'll tell you how I handled the issue. The fourth one was a client of mine who signed up with me for a coaching experience. We were supposed to help her. I was supposed to help her to achieve an ultimate goal in her life. But I found out that one of the activities involved in our getting the ultimate goal was for her to work with individuals who had degrees. I found out that she was not willing to work with them. So I'll tell her, let's do this. Just go work with this individual so that we can get results. And she wouldn't do that. I'll tell you what happened. Now I launched into my journey with NLP. I worked for 10 years with Saipem. How many of you know Saipem in Port Harcourt? For 10 years of my life. And as I said, Saipem was doing me good by virtue of the fact that I can say it was divine at that time, that I got the job without the normal process of testing. I just walked into the interview hall and I met the white man and he said, "Would you mind starting in the next 3 days?" And that was how I got the job. And after that, they placed me on a level where they were not placing my colleagues. And then after 1 month of being in the company, I was taken abroad to go to do training for 1 year. That was my first time of traveling abroad in my whole life. So having come back and I worked with the company as assistant, I wouldn't say manager, but at that level, I desired that I was going to be doing what I do today, writing and public speaking. So I decided I was going to resign. But before I resigned, I had to take some time out, 5 years of my life of working there to be able to put my transition plan into place. And then I resigned. The moment I resigned on the 5th of February 2016, my friends began to tell me, those of them who are into public speaking began to tell me, "Have you heard about NLP? NLP will be very good for you. Go and do NLP." Many of them were telling me from Abuja, from Lagos. I said, this NLP thing. Okay, well, let me go. And then the company paid me, because I resigned in February, the company paid me 660,000 naira as payoff. And so I took 180,000 naira out of that money. And I traveled to Lagos for 1 month in April 2016 to go and do NLP. So the class started out. On the first day was a journey to my inner self. And so they said something in the class that was innocent. They said, "The way you do one thing is the way you do everything." I said, wait till this guy is young. The way I do one thing is keep quiet. All these things they tell us to remove our hearts. I went there with plenty hearts. So even though they said I removed some. I didn't remove every of them. So, but then something happened. He said that we're going to do an exercise, that everybody should close their eyes and imagine that when you get to 1 minute, just feel it. When you get to 1 minute, you just raise your hand. I said, "Okay, go ahead." Everybody closed their eyes and said, "Okay, begin to count. If it's 1 minute, raise your hand." My hand shot up in the 30th second. The first amongst all my colleagues in the class. And then Innocent wrote my name as number 1, then other names as they were shooting their hands, 32nd second, 45th second, and all that stuff. Then we opened our eyes, and I saw my name was number 1. He said, "Look at this. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything." And then I began to journey back to my life based on that. And I found out that since I started doing public speaking, I've never, ever gone to an event late. Never. So sometimes people who invite me to their speaking engagements, I get there 2 hours before the time, and they're like, "Are you okay?" That's how Nigerians think. They think that because you're a speaker, you have to arrive there late, so that when they're calling you, you not enter as a big boy, enter to go to speak. I found out that also in my life, in my primary school, I was number 1. I found out also in my secondary school, I had the best result, 9 A's, government secondary school away. I found out that from Federal University of Technology, Futo, I was the best in my department. I was number 1. Also, where I was working in the office, I was always number 1 in the department. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. So my hand shooting up in the 30th second showed that this has been the way my life has been. Yes, somebody may say it's superstitious, but it's a journey of introspection, a return to my essence of who I was and how I've been functioning all this while. So, now I've told you these short stories. I'm going to tell you, sprinkle the elements of some of the things I've learned, not everything, in all these things and how they apply in my life. You may be thinking that you're not, this thing they tell us in churches in Pentecostal, Christianity is not religion, it's a lifestyle. And I smile. Religion, Christianity which you're practicing, I tell you it's a religion if you like it, if you don't like it. Because it's a way of doing things. Religare, if you think Italians call it religare, the way we do things. So religion plays a very important role. And why does it play an important role? When you were born, for those of you who have kids, when you were born and you were 6 months, you were 1 year, were you a Christian or not? Were you a Muslim? You never knew anything. So they were teaching you what you knew. By virtue of the fact that your parents were taking you to church or taking you to the mosque, you began to learn how to become a Christian, how to become a Muslim, how to become an atheist if your parents are atheists. Religious beliefs, and every one of us, we have them. And let me make you understand that these things affect the way we view the world. They are called the filters. So when you see certain things, according to the pastor, when I began to question, because that's one of the tools of NLP that's helped me in business, I question a lot. And I will tell you why. I began to question. First and foremost, how do I do things? Rapport is very important. So one of the tools of NLP was the tool of rapport. So I met a girl in Abuja, and she walked up to me after the class we had some time, and she said to me, as we began to gist, she said, Emeka, I've undergone therapy 3 times. And the moment she said it, I said, fantastic, I've never been in therapy before, tell me about it. Do you know what she said next? That she has never told any guy in her life that she has undergone therapy that did not squeeze his face and think of her as she had colomental. Therapy, because we think therapy is for those who are already going mental. But I tell you, only being in Nigeria alone, we have mental issues. Check people on the road. They were walking, some people are calculating their salaries on the road. You think it's not mental? We all need therapy in this nation. Mental problems not only for those you see in the psychiatric hospital. We faced it, stress on a daily basis. By the time I began to join in NLP and I began to question a lot of things, I began to also question my spiritual beliefs or my religious beliefs. One of the things was that this transactional thing with me and God, I have to give him money before he blesses me. I said, this one, something is wrong somewhere. So when I was joining one day by road to Lagos, and I began to check all the vegetation, check all the hills, I said, so God has all these things, all these rams, all this every. And it's only my small money all the time that you will now be writing in ledger. Emeka, you paid so and so amount of money, 1,000 naira, and now I'm going to bless you according to 1,000 naira. Something was wrong about my belief about God. And so somebody begins to tell me that I should pay 37,000 naira for the 37 years of my life to be blessed by God, or $37,000 to be blessed by God. Some of you know what I'm talking about. There is a problem somewhere. So for me, I decided to break that transactional relationship that I have with God. And today I see God in everything. This blackboard, I'm seeing this chair. Because for a human being to develop and build a chair is an expression of his divinity. Because he wants to give value. That by the time you sit on the chair, you're able to rest your bum bum. By the time he develops and builds this, he's able to give you something to look at. It's an expression of divinity. So God, why will I be having transaction with you? I give you 1,000 on Sunday. Oh yeah, remember, I'll give you 1,000 after you bless me well, God. I had to break that transactional system of thinking. So we journeyed and we found that she had those issues. And we began to reframe her thinking, her feelings, her emotions about how she was relating with her boyfriend based on the emotional deposits that she had had before in the past. And today they are enjoying a beautiful relationship. So, the fourth one. So I had this lady. As I said, she works in one of the ministries in Abuja. Top ministries. And so what's the problem? Why are we not solving these issues? Why are we not engaging and doing the activities that will get us to help you achieve this goal? I began to dig deep again. And I found out that she had a diploma. But in the office where she works, she had graduates around her who were from universities. And you know what we graduates do in Nigeria here? I'm a graduate. You HND. Who you be? That's the thing. So repeatedly around her in her office, she kept hearing, if only you had a degree. If only you had a degree. They'll get a job to be done, but they'll select only the guys who had degrees. But she was great at her job. If only you had a degree to your name. If only you had a degree. They'll give other people promotions. If only you had a degree. They'll give other people some, if only. She kept on hearing, if only she had a degree, and that placed the ceiling automatically in her subconscious. So when we had to do these activities that involved working with other degree holders, she could not break through the ceiling because already there was a ceiling that she could not work with graduates because she had an HND. So we began to reframe the meaning using tools of NLP that she gave to that event. And she was able to break through. And today she has achieved her goal. So those 4 stories, those 4 events of my life are part of the things that we learn on our journey in NLP. As a leader, I call myself as a leader. Every day I write on Facebook, every day consistently. I know that the things that I write sometimes that go controversial to certain things that people believe already, they will come up to attack me. Write about Biafra now as an Igbo man. You are gone. Because either Biafra or death. So how do I tackle these people? I know that they have their beliefs of the world. Their maps of the world. I write things that are very controversial. On Sundays, people write the normal things about church. God loves you, faith and all that stuff. I go to write certain things that will make you start to think. So I said, okay, last Sunday I said, this Tower of Babel that we are even talking about, why did God even make this world to have different tongues? It wasn't as if they were building the Tower of Babel, that they were going to get to God. How would they even build to the point that they will exit the earth? And somebody said, I've not seen this thing from this perspective. That is how I do my Sunday teachings. Not the usual, you do faith, have 1 step, 1, 2, 3 to pray and all that stuff. Then I know there are people that I call the defenders of God that will come on the timeline to defend God. There was this particular one who came, he is always in China. His only time that he engages with me is on Sundays. The time I wrote about this, my belief about transaction with God, he came into my timeline and my message box to say, you're deceiving people. You're leading them to hell. God will punish you. And I said, the way you're even telling God, this God that you are telling us to love, to punish me, how would I even love the God again? And I told him I've already discussed with my God though, and he told me to go ahead. He said, no, that God you discussed with you is not the real God. It's the truth. Because they have their maps of the world. I do know how I get them. Sometimes when people come on my timeline with the intention to make me feel angry, I like their post. Or I place love first. I don't even ignore. I don't ignore. I like. And the person will be like, why is he liking my comment like that? And then we begin the conversation. This particular guy from China, do you know I always end my conversation, I love you, with the love of God? And he cools down. So the moment people begin to do all those things, and you begin to fight back, you are entering into the gutter with them. You are relinquishing you are taking your power of contentment, of self-expression, and you are handing it over to them. Check yourself when you are done the argument. You will feel so angry with yourself, feel so unhappy, asking yourself, why did I even start this conversation in the first place? So I don't want to relinquish that power because I want to always be in an empowered state. It's only being an empowered state that can help the streams of my creativity to flow and return me always to the essence of who Emeka Nobis is. So understand that people have their religious beliefs and how their maps of the world and know how to connect with them and have conversations. It is not easy sometimes. When people come on your timeline and they want to malign you, they want to put you down, they want to tell you things that when you're thinking about it when you're sleeping, you feel so bad to have even written in the first place. But understanding your essence and the power that lies within you and not relinquishing that power will always keep you in the empowered state. That's for me. That works for me. All the time. All the time. In closing, on the 6th day of my NLP experience in Lagos, because it was in Lagos that I went to do mine, they told us to change seats the way we change seats like this. And so I changed seats. I changed seats. And then when I sat down on my seat, I opened my folder and I began to write. When it was time to ask questions, imagine what the woman who was sitting by my side asked. He said, Mr. Usa, I don't like sitting around the Mechanobis. Mr. Usa said, why? He said, the Mechanobis is making me feel that this money I pay for this course is not worth it at all. Look at his page. He has written and written and written and written and written. Because I'll collect extra sheet, collect extra sheet again. She said, no, she doesn't want to sit near me anymore the next time that they will rotate, that she needs to change position. Mr. Usa now looked at me and said, Emeka, so far I've been studying your writings all this while, that you are what we call a conversational hypnotist. I said, sir, explain that again, let me understand. He said, you're a conversational hypnotist. You know, before I went for NLP, we used to hear this hypnosis as abracadabra, where they would do you abracadabra, and then you fall on the anointing and you close your eye and somebody would do all sorts of rubbish. So when he said conversational hypnotist, I said, we had not even gotten to the point of learning what hypnosis was. But he now said that. I said, but sir, I don't do the usual. He said, no, you will understand what hypnosis is when the time we get in. So me as a writer, if you go on my timeline to read my piece, all the people will say, I don't like to read long things. I don't like reading long. Many people have confessed that by coming to my timeline, they read from the heading till the last word. Because I know how to use the elements of NLP I've learned to hold them bound and direct the narrative. If you check in your assumptions that you see in your folder, they tell you that the one who controls, who has the power, is the one who is able to be flexible. So I've been able to understand how people think, how people will react, how their maps of the world are. So by the time I'm writing my piece, I'm wielding those elements that by the time you start reading, you will read from number 1 to the end, from the beginning to the end. He said, Emeka, go and hone your skills. And since then I've been honing the skills all the while as a writer. I go on Facebook and I keep writing and I put in all those elements. 6 months ago, a man who wants to aspire to be the governor of a state, I don't want to mention the state, said, Emeka, I've been seeing all the things you've been writing. You're a great writer. I want you to come and lead my campaign when it has to do with content writing. I say, sir, I don't want to do all these political things. He said, no, it's not politics. Just come. By virtue of that, the tools I've learned in NLP, for 6 months we were going back and forth because I didn't want to be a part of any political whatever. But eventually, after consulting with a few of my friends who were seniors, they said, go ahead. And currently, I'm working with him by virtue of the things I've learned in NLP. So, it's great that you're here. This is just push, just to push the motor to start. The motor needs to continue going. How many of you want to continue going with the car? How many of you want to continue going with the car? How many want to go with the car? It's not just to start the car, push it, and then you need to continue going with the car. And it will empower you with the things that you need to learn. I went to NLP for myself, but now it has evolved from myself to my business, and it's working. Sorry, in ending, I remember what happened to me on the 3rd day of my NLP. I lost my first client. I left my job February. By April, I lost my first client. This client was so dear to me because this client saw my writing skills, got me engaged, and for the first time, somebody was flying me from Lagos in Arik, not any other flight. And at the airport, gave me taxi to drive me all around, gave me great hotel to live in, and then in class, I got the news that she had disengaged me from the contract. Enoch Santos had said something to me because he saw how my face was in the class and said, all you need to get is feedback from the experience. Nothing is bad, nothing is good, just feedback. And I went back to myself and I found out that there were certain things I was not doing well with the woman doing the engagement of a contract because I felt that I left my job, I was a free spirit, I could do as I loved, no structure, nothing. She had to terminate the contract. So I got that Nothing wrong that happened to me, only the feedback. And that feedback has been helping me in dealing with other clients to date.
Innocent Minds.